Welcome, everybody, to Cincinnati Bengals Weekly Show. We are at week 4. The Cincinnati Bengals Show is now brought to you by Dr. Randall Fick, Orthopedics, in Cincinnati, Ohio. Highly recommend Dr. Fick. He's done wonders for both my sons, who are football players. We didn't know if they were going to be able to play Friday night, but it looks like they'll be full go now thanks to Dr. Fick. So make sure you check out Fick Orthopedics. I want to welcome in my co-host, as always, former Cincinnati Bengal linebacker, number 58, Joe Kelly. How you doing, Joe?
Oh, I'm doing great, Mike. Doing great, man. I had an opportunity to go to Green Bay this weekend and witness firsthand the Bengals game. Unfortunately, we didn't come out of there with a victory. And, when you're a competitor, moral victories to a competitor, it really doesn't mean too much. But as I looked at it, there were a lot of moral victories. We totally dominated Green Bay in the first half. We had opportunities in the second half. We had Mixon. If Mixon doesn't slip on that third down, just a routine play and something that he even quoted. That never happened to him in his life. Not Pop Warner, not high school, not college, where on a play like that he slips and falls. And it's just unfortunate you had that play right there. I think he was hot. He was running well. He pretty much put our offense on his back. If that doesn't happen, we continue with the drive. We had the missed field goal. And at the end of the day, defense played well, but there's one play. There's been one big play every game that the defense has given up. There's been questionable calls, Mike. I've been
that pass interference against Pac-Man was.
Oh yeah. They definitely. Green Bay definitely. And I'm not here, be the crybaby guy, but they got all the calls. Every call was going their way. So the guys kept fighting, and we had some bright spots. And my brightest spot was that number 58. That number 58, Mike, he showed up, man, and I think he's going to be a defensive player to reckon with.
Yeah, Carl Lawson looked good in the game. I want to bring up the fact we have a special guest tonight, a Cincinnati Bengal legend, one of the greatest Bengals running backs of all time, helped lead the Bengals to Super Bowl 16. Help me welcome to the show, Pete Johnson. How you doing, Pete?
Hey, good, man. I got to agree with you on one thing. I'll tell you what, one thing I noticed about the game Sunday is the effort. And it wasn't a play that they didn't give effort, which I think had been lacking in previous games.
Yes. Yeah, and we'll talk to the one thing that you hear a lot of Bengal fans complain about, Pete, is the fact that they've got 3 quality running backs, but nobody seems like they're the guy. I think that also changed this week with Joe Mixon. I think Mixon got the ball more than the other guys. But you want to talk a little bit about a running back? I know yourself, I don't think you were warmed up till you had 10 or 15 carries. So you want to talk a little bit about that and running back by committee?
Well, with running back by committee, but Hicks, I think he's going to be the guy. It's come a time when you got to just say, okay, this is my guy, and give him the opportunity, and then the other guy needs to prove that they're better. When I was there, my whole thing was I'm going to do my best all the time, no matter what, and I don't care who you brought in or what. I was going to carry myself in a way where I'm going to be the guy get the ball. I wanted the ball. And, but you got to sell it in practice, which I understand they can't practice as much as we used to because of the different rules and stuff. They got to send tape to the NFL office, so it's just so much different than when we played.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that is why the first 2 weeks, the quality of play in the NFL was not very good. I think you saw this week, I think the quality of play picked up big time. You want to talk a little bit about those rules for the fans and explain to them exactly why? I mean, it takes a few weeks for these guys to get going without the hitting in the practices?
Well, yeah, it just, like when Kemp and Joe remember, they still did this when Joe was playing. We had 2 days. And then during regular season, we hit up until Thursday. And Thursday we still hit with goal line. We still had our goal line offense and defense, which the starters got to play and you got to hit. And, the guys don't do that anymore. And I think it really takes away. So it takes them a couple of quarters to get going. But then you got another team, I don't think abide by the rules. Because you watch them guys come out and they're fired up, and you can tell, wait a minute, they couldn't get that way without practice. Practice makes perfect, and they just have that little edge, it seems.
Yeah, Mike. Even on that, just like Pete was saying, there's a huge difference because there's only a certain number of plays that you can in full pads that you can go in training camp. Pete and I, when we were in training camp, you had 2 days, and sometimes there, I played on teams where you had that 3 days. They'll mix that third practice in. But your body got conditioned to running in heat. Your body got conditioned to the banging. Your body got conditioned to the live tackling. And even during the season, we would have full pads Wednesday and Thursday. We full pads.
That's right.
And you were in the the wide receivers and the quarterback. They were protected, but when you did 907, you did short yardage. You were going at it. The fullbacks, the running backs. So they got conditions. You got conditioned to playing in here's Green Bay, 90 degrees, and you're going live and you're going to the ground. And when you don't do that, and you haven't done that all camp, it does take time. It takes time to get accustomed to the game, to get accustomed to the feel of the game. And really, I think the biggest thing is getting in shape to play an NFL game, 60 minutes, all out, something that you haven't done. They haven't done since last season because you can't do it if you don't do it in training camp. Preseason now, your starters may play, two series, first game, third preseason game, they may play a half. Second and fourth preseason game, most starters don't play. So you're saying you're really not getting any live action until the season starts. And like Pete said, you look at some teams, I think they, put some of the rules to get some more conditioning, to get some more live action in pads. And the teams that haven't, I think you can see by us, you can see in the first 2 weeks our lackluster play. But I think it's coming around. You see that the new coordinator, he decided that he was going to go with a guy, and he went with Mixon for the most part. And Mixon showed, that he's the number one guy. I love all three backs. But Giovanni, I think, like I said, Giovanni, we talked about last week, that he's a mismatch. He's a mismatch in any offense we can utilize. And I think from here on out that Jeremy Hill is going to be the guy that gets less and less carries.
Now, do you think there's a chance that at some point they will trade Jeremy Hill?
Well, in the NFL, Mike, I think you need good backups. Mixon is a rookie. Jeremy Hill.
I agree, too, but as Pete said, when you're a running back, you have to have the mentality that you're the guy and you want the ball. So, I think it's not even what's good for the Bengals right now. It's just Jeremy Hill is not going to be happy like that. There's no running back in the world that's going to be that thinks they're good enough to be the starter.
Yeah. I don't think it's over for Jeremy Hill. I think Mixon had
I don't either, because when he ran the ball, he's looked good running the ball this year.
Yeah. So, my thing is I don't think it would be smart for him to think about, trying to, start pouting. You got to be professional about what you're doing and go out there and, I don't know what the new offensive coordinator is thinking. He could be, Mixon was hot this game. It may be Jeremy Hill, Sunday. So, Jeremy Hill, you're professional, you're a competitor, so you go out. I don't think there's all three running backs, are capable of doing very well in this league. But right now, we looked at, Pete, you're a running back. So, I'm a linebacker. You could speak on, Mixon. They called his name and they called his name often, and he answered. So, that being said, hey, to me, it looks like he's going to be mixing his job.
Well, he still got that attitude from college, too, where you had to go all out all the time. Yes. I remember Coach Hayes told me, so when you're going into the pros, you got to have the same mentality and attitude you had in college. And you got to be willing to get up in the morning and do that extra work before you get to practice, because they can't give everyone the same amount of time. So I remember I used to run early in the morning before practice and then go to practice. And I'm ready. I'm fired up, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right,
young
so
guys
my next question, Joe, you played defense. You sat there, you watched the game. Overall, I thought the defense played pretty well. My question is, how long can they deal with Dre Kirkpatrick playing corner?
Well, you know what? We look at our cornerbacks that we have on the team. I think 22. I think 22 is the plays that he made, and that play, that pick six that he had. It pretty much showed that he's going to be a very capable.
Yeah, and I think Denard looks like he's improving.
Denard is proven, but Mike, I'm looking at Denard, and I still think that Denard is behind. In my opinion, Denard is behind Drake Kirkpatrick. He's still behind Pac-Man, and they're putting him in a slot. When the thing about, because if you're saying, hey, let's put Denard out there, that means he's going to be isolated one-on-one. Out there on an island like Dre and like Pac-Man are sometimes, and I honestly don't think he's there. I looked at Dre made some plays, that when you and these are coaching techniques. But once again, these are Pete, you can attest to it. These are things that you do in practice. I don't know if they even do live goal line practices, and you practice on that. If you're a defensive back and you're on the goal line, you have another defender. You're always taught that you have another defender, and that other defender is the end line in the end zone. So you got another guy back there 10 yards, and that's he can't go past 10 yards. So if you're a defensive back, you're already in the end zone. Don't keep backing up in the end zone. Dre was already pretty much on the end zone. When he backs up maybe a yard and a half, 2 yards in the end zone. It was, if you only back up a yard and you make that break, if you see how close that Trey was to that ball, the ball is not down. But once again, that's something that a drill that you do over and over and over in practice on goal line. In goal line, there's so many different situations, but anytime I've ever played, there's no reason for me to drop 5 yards deep in the end zone in pass coverage. That's asinine. All you have to do is stop at the goal line and turn around, and it's a touchdown. I don't care how close you get.
Well, I think the other asinine thing is being on the goal line and playing man coverage against Aaron Rodgers.
Well, unless you got shut down corners. If you got shut down corners.
Yeah, but we don't.
Yeah.
I mean, Pac-Man was at one point, and he's still better than most corners, but he's not a shutdown anymore. I think William Jackson may be, but he's basically a rookie.
Yeah. You got to stop. Go ahead, you can't be afraid to make mistakes. And I think our guys just afraid that if they're going to get beat, you still got to play defense and you got to play aggressive. I'm like, you got superstars on both sides of the ball. And I tell you what, I probably take some penalty by hitting somebody and make them respect you. The only way you make them respect you is knock them on the air. And the other
but hell, anymore you do that, Pete, they'll find you $50,000 and put you out for 3 games.
That's something they got to deal with. That's modern day football.
But that's the good thing. We come to Cleveland week, and Vontaze Burfict will be back.
Yeah, I know. So, Cleveland's scary because Cleveland practice from Pittsburgh, and they get used to hitting people. They're going to be out there knocking people's head off, and we ain't going to be ready.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, I watched Cleveland against Indianapolis, and they weren't knocking too many people's heads off. But I think this is a good time to actually, you came up, Pete. You and Joe both played at a time when Paul Brown was still around. You want to talk a little bit about the Cleveland rivalry when you were a Bengal back in the 70s up through, 83?
Oh, it was great. I loved it. If it weren't for Cleveland and Pittsburgh, I wouldn't have any record. So I kind of enjoyed it. You know, but I love running over people and hit them and make them respect me and then run by them. But it's just a different time right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So any specific Cleveland Browns game come to mind when you think about the Bengals-Browns rivalry?
You know, I think of the one with Pat McInerney, and they give him a dirty shot, and they have to take him off the
Tom
field.
Darden.
And Tom Darden, and he come back out, and he kicked that long bomb. Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, and that was the last game of the 80 season, right before the turnaround in 81 with the Super Bowl team. So let's look at the Browns. They lost 31-28 to the Colts. They got a rookie quarterback in Deshaun Kaiser. You got Duke Johnson, Isaiah Crowell at running back positions. There's not a whole lot of weapons on this Browns team, Joe. I mean, with Vontaze Burfict coming back, the way Carl Lawson looked, the way Geno Atkins has played, I mean, I think the Bengals should be able to win this game.
Yeah, you look at defensively. So when we're talking about, you know, we're 0-3, they're 0-3. You know, Battle of Ohio, the Ophir teams, the Ophir battle this weekend. But you look at our defense. Our defense has played more than solid all season long. And the big thing, right, man, we get the heart and soul of our defense back. You know, and that's 55. 55. He takes our defense to another level. It's no question about it. You know, we played well. You know, we had guys that played awesome. We had some guys that were not aggressive, and like Pete was saying, you know, a defense, especially a defensive back, cornerback, you have to challenge. You got to challenge. You got to take risks.
You got to take it.
So if Dre doesn't back up, you know, too far in the end zone, and he breaks off the ball, you know, maybe Jordy Nelson turns up on his break. I don't know, but if he doesn't, it's a pick six, you know. If not that, at least he knocked the ball down. But when we're looking at, you know, comparing to, you know, what Cleveland has to offer, like you said, they got the rookie quarterback. He's played good in spots. But I think with the emergence of Lawson, with the emergence of 58 and 55 is back, we match up well. With them, I think they still their offensive tackle, Joe Thomas. I think he's still one of the best tackles in the league. So whoever's on his side is going to have an issue. They're going to have to bring their lunch this weekend because they're going up against a formidable tackle, and it's not going to be the Green Bay offensive tackles, the backup Green Bay offensive tackles of last week. So it's going to be a challenge for our defensive ends. But overall, defensively, I think we match up well, and you know we're going to get some fire back in there. We got somebody like Pete said. This is still football. You know, there's rules. There's a lot of rules that are putting harnesses on guys. But 55, you know, 55 could have played in our era. Could have played in Pete's era. He's a football player. He's a throwback.
He could have played in 1930.
Yeah. So, you know, and I think, you know, when you have a guy like that gives a team, you know, a unit that lift, you know, it can potentially raise the other guys and take them to another level. And when you think about how well our defense really has been played, you know, there's been one play, you know, Green Bay, we have them 3rd and 10, you know, even guy jumps off sides, but still 3rd and 10 and you run a cover 2. I that just blows my mind. Basically,
no, 3rd and 10, you run a cover 2 against Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson.
Yeah, no, you're going to lose.
Yeah, so, you know, I didn't understand that call. And at the end of the day, the coach still has to put the players in positions or whatever.
There you go.
Yeah, I think you saw that with the first half in Green Bay with the kind of game the offense called. It was completely different than what was before.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I just knew we were going to blow them away.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like it.
It looked like we were going to run away with the game, but you can't let Aaron Rodgers and that Green Bay team stick around. And I just hope they don't do like the Browns did. The Browns will pick favorite to beat the Colts. So all of a sudden you got a bunch of young guys. Hey, man, we favorite. We ain't never been favorite. We're the best team. And, no, you still have to play the game. We can't go in there and say it's the Cleveland Browns and we're the better team and we're going to win because they're going to be coming out there saying, wait a minute, we know what happened last week. This is in-state rivalry and nothing to do but put the Bengals down. And them guys going to play a lot harder than they played against the Colts.
Yeah, and I mean, you played games in your career similar against Cleveland. I think it was 1978. The Browns still had a shot to make the playoffs. They came down to Cincinnati. I think you guys beat them like 48-16.
Oh yeah, and I remember we played Baltimore at home with 31-0 at halftime, and we lose the game. We go to Pittsburgh the next weekend and slaughter them, and they were the best team. They won the Super Bowl. They were the best team in football. We could beat them twice, but we couldn't beat the worst team because the mindset. You know, you got to play every team in the NFL like they're the best team in the NFL.
Yeah, because there's not much difference between NFL teams, even the playoff team and the non-playoff team. That's why everybody always tells me, well, you know, they're 0-3, but they lost 3 close games. The problem is 70% of the games in the NFL are close games, and the difference, the thing that separates the good teams, the playoff teams, from the not the playoff teams is the fact that you win those close games.
Exactly. Yeah. You got to win the close game.
You have to. You have to. And what about, you know, here, you know, we have our kicker. We choose the kicker, and, you know, our guy misses
the
field
goal.
And
I know.
He wins the game for Philly.
And you know what? I'm watching the Eagles, and they bring out Jake Elliott. And I'm thinking, isn't that the guy the Bengals drafted? He kicks a 61-yarder to win the game. Yeah. The Bengals are up 21-7 at halftime. My buddy calls me. He's like, they got this. I said, no, you know what's going to happen? I said, Randy Bullock's going to miss a kick at some point, and it's going to cost us the game because we got rid of our 5th-round draft pick. And then Randy Bullock, I think, late third quarter, misses one that would have been a difference in the game.
Yeah, definitely. We make that kick, you know, and it doesn't go to overtime. You know, so, you know, we there's so many games, you know, that you can look back over the different seasons and the Bengals, the different Bengal seasons, that you can go back and it was a play here. But, you know, Pete, you know, every game, when you look at games, even games that don't seem close on the score, when you look at games and you go back and look at film, Pete, what you say, there's 3 to 4 plays a game. That makes
every game.
It makes a difference. And 3, 4,
every game.
28-0, but there was 4 plays. We gave them 4 plays, you know, and that's football. Like Pete said, you have to learn to win. You have to win the close ones, and those close games, they can potentially put you in the Super Bowl. I can recall our '87 season. You know, the strike season. We came in and we literally, when we looked at, there was, I don't know, maybe 12, 13 games where we come in and we were winning going into the fourth quarter. And I think we ended up 4-12. Yeah, and we lost so many games by, you know, less than 14 points, 7 points.
Yeah, that's why Sam Weiss was running around in 1988 just screaming finish at everything.
Yeah,
gotta finish.
So you look at the same team. We pretty much, there was a couple players here and there, but you look at pretty much the same team that we went 4-12, and then that next season we went 12-4. We have the best record in the league, and we go to the Super Bowl. We should have won, but Pete and them should have won in Detroit. It's the same damn team, you know.
If you look at, I mean, the team Pete was on in '81. In 1980, the Bengals were 6-10, lost a ton of close games.
Yeah. It's
both
Super Bowls. both Super Bowls came down to a play here and a play there. Literally, you're saying maybe 2 plays. You know, and that's and that not only can make a difference in the game, but that can make the difference in your entire season. You know, and Pete and I are both witnesses, first-hand account witnesses of.
That's right.
You know. One or 2.
Well, you know, the bad thing about those 2 Super Bowls, there's like 6 plays in each game. If you just changed one of them, you guys would have won.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
I wish people remember Chris Collins were fumbling the ball at the 5-yard line because nobody does.
Well, they don't remember. Hey, they don't remember those. In the first 6 seconds, we were 14 points behind because of 2 fumbles on the kickoff.
Yeah.
But no one remember that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But you know, the thing is, the only thing I regret nowadays watching football and watching the Bengals, the guys when the offense is on the field, the defensive guys are sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
defense on the field, the offensive guy sitting on the bench. And I remember the 81 season, I thought what made us different, that was guys off the bench, standing on the sideline, and they're screaming. We came off the field, and they would say, hey, you should have got that extra yard. What the hell is going on? Pete, you're better. You can run him over. You let one guy bring you down, or you let this. And, man, that motivates me. When I know my defense is standing there rooting me on, they wouldn't let me get in a dump. They wouldn't let me down.
Right.
These guys just go to the sideline, sit down. But it's a team sport. You need everyone on that team to be in the game at all times.
Yeah, I agree. It makes a difference. You know, people they underestimate the camaraderie. How close, that can make a team, and that can make the difference. And I remember even that year with Sam. Sam deciding he's going to room the white players with black players, and he's going to room offensive players with defensive players. Sound kind of corny at first. Chris Collinsworth and I were roommates the entire time, and it was. We became really good friends, still good friends to this day. But you got closer to your team, and you rooted on, those guys, and guys making plays. Ickey's out there making plays, James Brooks out there making plays. And when Stanley Wilson comes in and Boomer does a fake and he hits Eddie Brown for a long bound, we would like Pete said, we would be up because we knew what the call was. There would be times where, Stanford Jennings would turn around and say, well, here's that call, because we've been practicing all week. So, we're up, and it works, and about touchdown. And hey, now the defense is excited, and it rubs off. You guys support each other, you're rooting each other on, because at the end of the day, Pete knows when you get out there, the difference between the really good teams and the really bad teams, the talent-wise, is very minimal. Talent-wise, is very minimal. A guy may not have 1,000 yards, and another guy may, may have 2,000, whatever. But the actual talent from player to player is very minimal. There's so many other extra factors. Your team camaraderie. The working hard. You're working hard. There's so many other factors that go into being a really good team. Just besides the talent level.
Another thing, defensive player can see stuff that an offensive player missed because they on the field and they getting guys running into them, and they can tell when a defensive player getting ready to quit. I remember Tim LeClaire used to come on to Pete, don't even try to go around him. Hit him hard one more time, and he's going to close his eye. And I do it, next thing I know, the guy got his eye closed, and I go by him. But that stuff, the defensive player can help the offense, and the offense vice versa. So they know the type block they have to make and the one they hate making. So they pretty much know when a guy get ready to quit not, and they can motivate you.
Yeah.
All right, definitely. So Joe, you picking the Bengals this week?
Oh, definitely, Mike. I'm going all in, Mike.
You got it.
We might as well. We're wrong every other week this year so far.
Yeah, Mike, I'm going to bet the house, Mike. I'm going to bet the house.
Oh, don't bet the house, Joe.
Don't bet the house, but just root and pray for him.
Oh,
I don't have an extra room for you,
Joe. I'm looking for these guys to bounce back. I think even with the loss, I think I've seen some pep in their step. I seen a little swag back, especially on the defensive side, and then on the offensive side also. And I think when they looked at the film against Green Bay, they know that they had that game. They should have won that game, and they should have won that game convincingly. That being said, I think it's 4-3 sounds but it's 16 games. It's 16 games. So here.
Yeah, and it's not like anybody else is looking very good in this division right now.
Right. It's a long season.
Pittsburgh goes to Chicago and loses to the Bears. So when you look at it, I think, here we can come back. We have Cleveland this week, come back with Buffalo. But I just think that the new offensive coordinator, I think he's gonna run Mixon. Mixon gets tired. I think he can bring in Jeremy Hill. We can utilize Jeremy. We can continue to utilize Jeremy the way that we have. I'm just disappointed because I didn't know last week until actual kickoff that Eifert wasn't playing. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I missed something I didn't know, and it's kind of disappointing because the guy's so talented. But at the end of the day, you got to be on the field. Pete knows you can't make the club in the tub.
No, you can't.
He's been hurt so much, and that would does add such a huge component to our offense. And a mismatch against other defenses. And unfortunately, I don't even know if he's going to play this week. But I think with the guys that we have, I think our offense can move the ball against their defense, and our defense definitely can have some success against them. So, I'm looking for the Bengals. I'm actually going to this game also. My godson Darius plays for Cleveland, so we're going to go up there and I'm still going to have my Bengal gear on or have any Cleveland Browns stuff on, but I see the Bengals coming out victorious this week.
All right. And the defense will score twice. The defense going to score twice. You watch.
Yeah, I think Kaiser's going to throw some to our defense, and I think Geno Atkins is going to put a ton of pressure up the middle.
Yes.
And Burfict going to be flying all over the place trying to make somebody pay for making him miss 3 games.
3 games.
Well, I need him to get it together before the Buffalo game because I don't want to be there and watch him lose.
Yeah, it seems like the Bengals always have trouble with the Bills, at least lately.
Yeah, but Bills they have a solid team, but we want to get this first win first, and then take one game at a time. And the thing about the team, this team, look at Kansas City did it last year, or I think it was the year before, where they went on a 8-9 game tear, and I'm looking at it as something possible because we have the players. You can stay healthy. There's I think the offensive coordinator, like you said, he wanted to show that we have an identity. There wasn't an identity the first 2 games. You're shuffling running backs. You're trying this, you're trying that, and it's not working. And I think I don't know if you may heard our broadcast, Mike, for the last couple of weeks because he did start to take Blahey out of the game and put Andre Smith in there, and I think Andre Smith was a huge upgrade based on the play of Blahey and Fisher. And, he did rotate those guys some, but I think going into that film, looking at that film, there's no way I'd see him not keeping Andre Smith on the field, starting offensive tackle and trying to make a decision between those other 2 guys at the other offensive tackle. Because at the end of the day, you got to protect your quarterback. You have to sustain some blocks. Sustain blocks long enough for the running back to get through the hole. And 70 and 74, those guys are getting they're getting hit even before as soon as they get the ball. So it's sometimes it's almost impossible to get going. If you're getting that much penetration on run plays and the pocket is collapsing on the passing plays. It's very disruptive to your offense. So I think to me I've seen some really good things. The coaches, some changes the coaches did, but I think they did come off the field in Green Bay. I know they were disappointed, but I think they came off the field with their head up, knowing that hey, we're in Green Bay. It's sweltering. We played our asses off. We should have won this game. We didn't, but I think I've seen here we have an identity because this 2017 team still there's a lack of identity. You don't know what kind of identity we have. We don't know if we're aggressive, if we're going to be flashy, if we're going to be downhill runners. We don't know what we're going to do, and I think they started to try and establish their identity last week, and hopefully they can carry it on the next couple of weeks.
All right. So I guess all 3 of us are going to go out on a limb and pick the Bengals again. We better be right this time, or things going to get real ugly around here at 0-4, Joe. We'll have to do the show drunk or something.
0-4. 0-4 would be ugly. That would be ugly right there.
Yeah, I think they get the win, though, this week. I want to thank Pete for coming on the show.
All right. Hey, thanks for inviting me.
Hey, no problem. Anytime you want to come back. We still need to get you on a Legend Show, talk about your career with Woody Hayes, Ohio State, and then with the Bengals.
Yeah, just let me know.
Yeah, I definitely will. I'll be in touch with you, and we'll figure that out. Joe, I guess we'll be back next week to talk about what we got. Buffalo next week.
Buffalo next week. Yes.
So we'll talk about a Bengals victory for the first time this year, and then we'll talk about the Bengals preparing to beat Buffalo. And next thing you know, we're back in the playoff hunt.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be at the Buffalo game.
You will, Pete, or you won't?
Yeah, I'll be at the Buffalo game.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's my weekend.
Okay. Well, okay, Pete. You know what? I'm good thing we didn't get off yet, Mike, because I think with the Bengals, what they're doing, honoring the top 50 as well as honoring other Bengal legends. So, Pete, are you going to be a part of the halftime show next?
Yeah, I'll be part of the halftime show.
Okay, Mike, I'll be there also. So I'll be part of the halftime show, and coming out there and getting a chance to see some of the top 50 guys as well as some old teammates and former Bengal alum. And I think it's something great that the Bengals finally, are
finally.
Yeah, they still need a ring of honor though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I tell you what, talking to some of the guys that been at the earlier game, man, they can talk for hours about it. They really had a great time.
Yeah. So that'll be great. So any of the fans listening, next home game, it'll be Pete Johnson, myself, along with I think maybe 12 other, about 12 other guys.
Big E, Eddie Edwards going to be there. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Pat McAnally, I can't wait to see it.
Eddie Brown, Richard Carrick, it's a bunch of guys, come out, support, come see some of the legends, and I'll be looking forward to hanging out with Big Pete for the weekend. We have events Saturday. Then they have a dinner, then they have a meet and greet after the dinner, and then coincides with the halftime on the field prior to the game, and halftime and introducing all the Bengal legends. So it's going to be a great weekend next weekend.
Most definitely sounds like it. So guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap the show. What was that?
All right. Yeah, past my bedtime.
Well, good night, Pete.
Good night. Take care, Joe. I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
All right.
Thanks,
Pete.
All right, guys, I want to remind everybody you can hear all the Grueling Truth shows on iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher, wherever you find sports podcasts, you'll find the Grueling Truth. So for Pete Johnson, Joe Kelly, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to the Grueling Truth, where the legends